We are going over the Bruiser Immortal Hu Tao build today. That's what I called it with this team composition. There's going to be alternatives to some of the characters that you see in here as well. So if you don't have all those characters that you see initially as we're running through, the end of the video, we're going to go through how everything works. We're going to have the gameplay first for you guys so you can see it in action. And as you we'll see, she's still going to obliterate everything. We'll go through the intricacies of how everything plays out in the gameplay as well as the build composition. We're going to be going over artifacts, weapons, all of the good stuff that we're using here today. If you don't have access to the 5-star weapons that you see here, check out the previous Hu Tao build guide as well for why Dragon's been good and why Deathmatch is insane on top of that. So let's get into it, guys, for you. Let's start it. So floor 12, enemies are tanky. We're going to be able to go through the enemies here. You're going to be able to see the full rotation of the team comp. And like I said before, we're going to be reiterating on exactly how this works and what you're going to be focusing on artifact-wise, substat-wise, main stat-wise, and even character-wise if you don't have these exact characters in your team. So let's pop this off. We're going to do something very weird and just hit him with this right away. I'll explain that more later. What we're going to do now is smack this. No reset here? Okay, we're gonna burst here and we'll swap the Hu Tao after we pick this crystal up. Oh, pick that crystal up. We just absolutely obliterate these dudes, and there's nothing they can do to me, really. There's nothing they can do. It's gonna take a couple iterations. We'll petrify them. We're gonna go right back into it. So we're gonna reapply our barrier. I'm gonna put this down. We're gonna get our Xingqiu ult. Pop that up, and we're going to be ready to go right back into Hu Tao. Now, if we swapped into Zhongli there, we could have picked up another crystal there. You guys probably know it's for the Petra set. We'll talk more about that later. And remember, those Geo Bishops are tanky little boys there. So I guess they're kind of big boys as well, but I love this team. I love using Hu Tao this way. You know, I made her an honorary Geo character, okay? So we have, I guess we'll do this girl first. So we'll pop this up, put the shield up, pop this down. See if we can't get a reset. Do we get the reset? Ooh, that's unfortunate. It's okay. It's okay. We'll pop this. We'll lower something. We'll lower something some amount of HP. Don't worry. There we go. I'm gonna refresh this real quick. Might as well throw the petrify out while we're here, and we can go right into Hu Tao. 71k. We're landing, you know, 50 something, 60k on the Tinky Bit boys. The Tinky Bit boys. Is that something you can call them? Over here, where? You want to die, girl? Here, just get smacked for this under-leveled. And give me some energy. Give me some energy. Give me some energy. And I'm just going to drop a comment on you, bro. And just more burst. That's the strat. Final chamber before we go into the big team compositions here for you guys. Now, I did do all of them. I don't know how many of them I'm going to show you because a lot of them ended really fast. And it felt like I had to blabber over and over. So we knew how much damage we were doing. 72k though. Like, this is a tanky, but I can just stand here and do this all day. I don't care. My shield's not breaking. Not during the duration of my my elemental skill. It's not happening. It won't break. Drop this on them. Pop this. Drop this on them. We'll be good to go again. We can just stand here all day. Just honorary night. 88k. 88k. Tank is strong. All right, so let's get into the nitty gritty. It's not really that hard to understand exactly what we're doing here, what you're trying to accomplish with a team like this, and what it takes to make work for you guys. Now, I don't have like the most god-tier artifacts in the game. They're pretty decent, but we can get way better. So the team composition here is revolving around a double Geo team. This is for a couple reasons, right? Double Geo's there for the... Primarily, you think double Geo on this channel, you think for the Geo Imperil. This is going to be partly for the Geo Imperil because you need some secondary DPS characters that really get your overall DPS for your whole team up over time for the cooldown on her Guide to the Afterlife, right? It's a 9-second duration, a 16-second cooldown. So there's 7 seconds where you are going to be swapping between your characters using their skills. And Geo characters are very good at that because a lot of them have low cooldown abilities. A lot of them have abilities outside of battle as well. Even like Noelle and Ningguang, who we're going to be talking about. And even like the Geo Traveler you can use for this setup. So that's part one. Part two is the other part of the Geo Resonance is 15% shield bonus. And now this is going to pay us a visit to the Retracing Bolide set. Now, the main set everyone uses and the main set that does the most damage is still going to be the Witch's set, right? The Witch's set with the pyro damage bonus, and it gives you the extra melt and vaporize damage. What this set does, though, is allows you to get extra shield strength, increased by 35%. which is insanely strong when you have it on a character like Hu Tao if you want to keep them safe, because you have this 35% shield strength in the Geo Resonance bonus, and that does indeed stack. So you can see shield strength 50% right here. Now this is going to make your shields 50% stronger, obviously, but what does that mean for Geo shields? Geo shields in the 1.3 update got a universal change for all of the Geo characters. So it's not just the Zhongli thing or anyone else. They have 150% efficacy against every type of damage in the game. Physical, all elements, they get 150% bonus absorption rate. So 50% stronger. So if you have a shield that absorbs 10k, if it's a Geo shield against anything, it absorbs 15k. And then if you have the shield strength, it's gonna get a 50% bonus on top of that. So if you absorb 10k, then it goes to 15k, and then you get a 50% bonus of that. And now you're looking at a 22,500 HP damage absorption shield, which also Hu Tao has a very, very nice base defense, one of the highest base defenses in the entirety of Genshin. You don't even really need to focus on defense percent. If you get it, that's cool, but you don't need to focus on it. She's got like 800 and almost 900 defense. So she's gonna be able to pick up a lot of hits there, and this allows you to take most advantage of her sub 50% HP, especially for her, the Sanguine Rogue here. Definitely Rouge. All right, anyway, for the 33% pyro bonus damage. Also, if you're using the Staff of Homa, it's going to allow you to play under 50% as long as you want to, so you get that additional 1%. A lot of other Hu Tao teams, you're either, you're dying all the time, or if you're playing risky with the bisky, you're getting all the bonuses, but if you get hit, then you die, right? Or you're playing safe, and you have to heal her back up a lot, right? And then you'll lose this bonus for some period of time. With this team, you always have these bonuses, or if you want them to be that way, right? You end your E with your Q to heal you back up if you so desire. You don't really have to do that, but sometimes you inevitably hit too many enemies and you go above 50, but the next time you activate your E, you're right back under 50 again, ready to rock and roll. So with that being said, the other thing that this set does do is it increases your normal and charge attack damage by 40%. Now these are the two highest portions of Hu Tao's damage over time. It's her charge attack and her normal attack. You guys know that right now the normal attack, that animation cancels into the charge attack, makes up the vast majority of her damage there. You will lose out on SAM damage, which this set will do a little bit more damage than this set, especially if you're vaporized or melting, because it's also going to buff up the Witch's set, will buff up stuff like the Spirit Soother, your elemental burst there. It'll also buff up the Blood Blossom duration here, the damage here that it will tick 2 times. This does a little bit amount of damage, but not nearly as much as your normal and charge attack damage there. And on top of that, it's okay, and there's a reason why you only do a little bit less, is this is a 40% bonus, whereas the good old Witches set is going to be like a 22.5% bonus to all your pyro damage. This is a 40% bonus to your normal and charge attacks, but you got to remember that you're going to be getting that extra 15% melt and vaporize damage, so you will be doing a little bit less damage with this build, but it's the conjunction of the ×2 Geo with the Retracing Bolide set that makes you very, very, very strong on top of a Geo shield, and that is why shields like the Zhongli that you saw just stayed there for forever. Just stayed there for forever. You could stand in everything, just sit there, animation, cancel, jump attack over and over and over and over, and that's a huge boon in gameplay to your damage over time, because you're not dodging, you're sitting there doing all of the damage you could ever want in the world. So let's take a look at the attributes that I've been focusing on here, and you're going to be seeing that we have 59 crit rate, like always, 50 to 55 crit rate at the minimum. That's really what you want to aim for there. We just dump everything else that we have into crit damage here. Very fantastic crit damage. Crit rate first, and then start doing crit damage there, okay? That's the rule of thumb for pretty much every damage dealing character in Genshin Impact. This could go up higher. We'll talk about more of my substats so you guys can see how they're not like the craziest ever. And we're still in there with this team, hitting 88k crits on her charge attack, which is very high for someone who doesn't have the best artifacts of all time. They're good, but they're not the best. Now, we already talked about the shield strength here. Very strong, very strong. Pyro damage here. Now, this is going to come from 2 things right now. This is from our goblet that we have access to, is their Pyro Goblet here. And then remember, currently we're under 33% HP, so our talent is giving us a little bit extra here with the Sanguine Rouge, okay? 33% more pyro damage. there as well. Now we are using the Pyro Goblet like we just talked about here. Like I said, not the most well-rolled thing of all time. The Elemental Mastery here is very nice. Elemental Mastery is pretty good as a secondary stat if you pick it up, especially if you're in a team composition with Xingqiu, where the vast majority of your stuff, if you haven't talked about this with anyone, your friends, they're Hu Tao fans, unless you absolutely hate Xingqiu, use that boy. They're the best combination, I think, in the entirety of Genshin Impact. This is because 140 EM I have in total here. Vaporize and melt damage, 25.3% damage increase. That's very, very strong when you consider that. I think it's like 85% between her normal attack and her charge attack. 85% of them are getting vaporized if you're doing it correctly. So that is very, very awesome. A 25% DPS increase, or 25% vaporize and melt damage on 85% of your attacks. Yes, please. So if you get some elemental mastery, don't be too sad over that. Now we're using that Pyro Cup, and then I am personally using an HP percent Sands here. You could use an elemental mastery Sands. We talked about that in the Hu Tao SSSS plus tier series guide there. Every character gets one because it's a big meme to title something like that, and you know, a lot of you guys enjoy it. Some of you guys get mad though because you don't understand that it's a little bit of a meme there. But attack percent here, right? This is, you know, attack percent not that great. This could be crit damage, a little bit of elemental mastery here. So you guys can see we don't have the craziest stuff on. Crit rate circlet, this is because I need to hit that 55% crit rate here. It does have a little bit of crit damage on it, but then you can see flat, 5.8% attacks. There's no HP here or anything like that. So these three, you know, not really knocking it out of the park for us here. The summer finale here, elemental mastery 40, that's where some of the elemental mastery is coming from. Then 10 crit rate, 7 crit damage, and then 8.7% attack, which is not a stat you really want on Hu Tao, but we have it anyway. And then same thing over here, elemental mastery, crit rate, crit damage, and then some defense percent here as well. So if we wanted to like take this up another notch, right, if we had like the perfect year, we could get like 40% more crit damage here with some good rolls. We could get some bonus percent HP. And I want to talk about bonus percent HP for you guys real quickly. Once again, you can see that I have 33k, and the breakpoints, there's 2 HP breakpoints for her elemental skill. Now if you have the constellation, which is her C3, that gives you the bonus levels, you're going to have a different breakpoint on when you will stop gaining attack based on your HP. And it's going to be different than the level 10 one, because this has a cap of 400% of Hu Tao's base attack. So if you're using a 5-star weapon, you're going to have higher base attack and thus a higher cap. So if you're using like the Staff of Homa at level 10 here, if you have 45,000, I think it's 45,670, 680, 45,700, that is the hard cap for how much attack you can gain. It's something like 2,876 attack. That's the hard cap you can gain. So if you're rocking like a 50,000 HP Hu Tao build, you can drop like 5,000 HP. You're still going to get the same amount of attack. Now, if you happen to have this one and you get it all the way up to level 13, your cap's going to be lower because you're going to be getting more HP percent to attack percent trade-off ratio there. And thus, it still has the same cap. You're just getting more attack per percent HP. So the cap for you is going to be, I think it's slightly below 40k. It's like 39,650-ish, somewhere right around there, 600 to 700, 39,000. So that is something I wanted to talk about there, guys, because I've seen a lot of players going and be like, I'm making a super tanky Hu Tao, like it's a bunch of attack. Now I'm going to have a 60,000 HP Hu Tao. Well, you're definitely overkill on your HP. You're probably not using crit chance, crit damage, elbow mastery, you know, all of that good stuff, Pyro Cup. You know, you need some of that stuff in your life there. So, and we're not even maxed out on our talent here to be level 10 here. So we're missing some multipliers on our normal attack and charge attack, and we're already hitting 88k damage. It's very, 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 very strong here. So that's our Hu Tao build there. Good stuff here. It's like I said, retracing Bolide in conjunction with the Geo damage bonus and a Geo shield is the main setup here. Now, the characters that we're using here, and then we'll talk about these two real quick, and we'll talk about some replacements for you here as well, are awesome. So what we're using here, this is why I sometimes, well, I'll pop my Q because my Q's not leveled up. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage for us anyway because we're normal and charge attack focused. Hu Tao's normal and charge attack focused. Our Vaporizes normal and charge attack focused. I have him set up on the Archaic Petra set. So if I pick up a Pyro Crystal, which I can do because you see the rotation, right? It involves Zhongli putting his shield up, Xingqiu getting his burst ready, Albedo getting his nice little flower ready and using his elemental burst, which we'll talk about in a hot second there. And then I can go ahead and next time I come back around, right, I can leave that little pyro crystal on the ground, and then when I come in through the second rotation, if I time it right, which is just when I put my shield back down, I'll run over the crystal, I'll get that 35% pyro damage. So it's a nice little bonus there. You could, run him double Petra, double Noblesse Oblige, like I have our boy Albedo over here on, but I chose to take the small little bit of damage loss here and run him this way. The other thing that you're going to notice here is that I do actually have him on a circlet with his HP percent focus. Now this is kind of a choice. It's more of like a substat thing personally for me, all right, because this one did roll like 20 something crit damage on it, and my alternative for him was a secondary crit rate main stat with some energy recharge secondary, some attack percent, a little bit of HP percent there. And if I use this one, guys, on my build here, I'm gonna be at like 90 92 crit rate, and my crit damage goes down even lower. So I chose to do this one, and it makes his barriers very big, 33,000 HP. This is where you're getting those unkillable, 20k 25k barriers here. And he is also, with his barrier, because he got buffed, he's where our pyro resist down is coming from his jade shield. So letting us live forever, a little bit of bonus damage there with the jade shield, fantastic. Albedo's here for a couple reasons. Generate some crystals, he can do some damage off the field. The cool thing about the solar isotoma is that even though it's doing geo damage, you can crystallize things, right, while you're doing damage from time to time. It's not just gonna like strip you of your vaporize right away all the time, so that's gonna be awesome there, and it can do some considerable damage. The other thing though is when you use his elemental burst, because of his second ascension here, you're gonna get 125 elemental mastery for 10 seconds. Now this is pretty powerful. So you have a character that's very official like, right, got the solar isotoma down, popping damage, and then 125 elemental mastery. That's why you sometimes saw me just pop it off, right, hit some couple of dudes, and then I'll sprint over to some other dude and just start wrecking with Hu Tao. Now this is the order in case you have this exact team that I do this, and this is because of durations. So his elemental skill here, the Dominus Lapidus shield, it lasts 20 seconds. When it's big like this one is, it's gonna last like the full 20 seconds. It got a 12-second cooldown too, so you can pop this one up, be safe, right? You're not rushing into the battle right away. So I like to pop Dominus Lapidus here. And then the other thing we have here is the Guha Sword Rain Cutter. This is a 15-second duration. Okay, so the second longest lasting duration. So you put the shield down, you swap to him, you pop his elemental burst, maybe you get like one cheeky fatal rain screen in there, and then you want to pop your elemental burst on Albedo, and this one only lasts 10 seconds, and you want to quickly swap into Hu Tao and go into Guide of the Afterlife because this is 9 seconds. So you can get almost the full duration of the elemental burst buff off if you're very fast on your swap there with Albedo, and you'll have the shield ready to go. You'll have the Guha Sword Rain Cutter ready to go for your vaporizes. You'll have the elemental burst from the Calcite Might, or the Homunculus Nature, I guess, the elemental mastery buff there ready to go as well. And that's where all of that big damage is coming from on this team, because we're gonna have, after we elemental burst here on Albedo, 265 elemental mastery, which is very nice. It's almost doubling our elemental mastery, so that is very, very, very good. And that's where you see them big vaporizers, even big melts from time to time. Now, some other alternatives for characters that you can use here. If you don't have Zhongli, you don't have Albedo, it's fine. Noelle is a fantastic character here as well for this team composition, especially if you don't have Zhongli, because she can come in and she can be the big shield character. Now you might want to build her more defensive oriented because of the way that her shields are with the breastplate, right? It's 288% of her defense plus 1,694. So it's a smaller shield than Zhongli at the most part, because if you get like 2,000 defense, right? If you level this up to 10, you're just under a 300% bonus. So it's going to be like a 6k shield plus the flat. So it's going to be like a 7.6k. But even this one that I have right now with 2,000 defense, I've seen much higher, 2,200, go figure. It's still going to get that retracing bolide 35% plus the double geo 15%, and then it's a geo shield, so you get another 50%. So you're still closing in on that 22,000. You're going to be at like a 19k HP shield with Noelle. Now I know what you're thinking. The cooldown is so long. It is long. 24-second cooldown here, 12-second duration. So I know but there's nice and clean. If you use her as like your secondary DPS character, it's going to chip off some of that over time. The other thing is she has this skill, her Ascension, that no one really talks about, okay? Now this one is insanely freaking good, all right? When Noelle is in the party, but not on the field, this ability triggers automatically when your character HP falls below 30%. This is a fake translation. It doesn't mean if you fall below exactly 30%. It means if you take damage and it puts you under 30%, or you are already under 30%, you're gonna get this shield. It's a 20-second shield, and it has a 400% defense scaling off of her defense. That is insanely strong, and it's a geo shield, so you still get the 150% efficacy and the 50% because it is a shield from the combination of a tracing bolide plus the good old ×2 geo setup. So that is going to be very good there. So you have a 20-second shield here, and then you have a 12-second shield here. And then, what you can do here, you can put up the breastplate, and then you can force Devotion to come on, because you could force it with her E, and it's very, 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 very powerful when you choose to force it. So let's go ahead and do that for you guys right now, so you guys can see. I always click friends. So you can see it right here. All right. And if I'm sounding like too happy, because I'm usually not like this, I found a character that I really like to play. All right. And I haven't found a character like this since pretty much Noelle. So Noelle's in our party. We're already pretty low on HP here, and we'll just pop this up. You see the shield just comes right on, the 400% defense scaling shield, ready to rock and roll. It is just that good. Now remember, it's only for that character. It will persist for that character as you swap them in and out. So it's also pretty cool because you can get this to pop off when you first E, and then it'll still be on when you're ready to E again. It's going to have like a 3 or 4 second duration after that, but you'll be able to E in, do a bunch of damage. And if you want to feel a little bit cheeky that way, you can get, one E off with the shield and then come back in, E again, get half of that E off with the shield, and then you'll be like, danger zoning it for a couple more seconds, then you can swap back off. So that's going to help you there as well when using Hu Tao. So Noelle, very fantastic character. Then on top of that, you'll actually have someone to heal you, and she does fantastic AoE damage here, especially if you build her for a DPS character, you have her at C6 or something like that. She does really good AoE damage, which is kind of one of Hu Tao's downsides, is she does really good single target, not the craziest AoE. Noelle's going to cover up the AoE for you very well. And we're going to have Ningguang come in. Now, she's not going to be like as tanky and stuff and keep your character alive. She's going to be very similar to someone like Albedo. So she's going to allow you to basically, her primary function is that second character, the second geo character for the resonance bonus. After you have that resonance bonus, what's her other primary function? She's there to do damage while Hu Tao is not able to do damage. While Hu Tao's E's down, it works out very nicely. Her rotation, very similar to Albedo. They both have that 40 energy cost on their elemental burst. You pop her in, you throw her in the jade screen, you do her combo, and then you swap her out, and you're just kind of doing damage while you're buying time for Hu Tao to come back out and do more damage, and it works out and functions very nice. Now, the last one to really talk about here is the Geo main character, and this is going to be the worst one in my opinion, but they do still have two primary functions for you, okay? So she can put down rocks, all right, to block some projectiles, all right, but it's primarily there for the ×2 Geo resonance bonus, and then obviously with her constellations, or their constellations, I guess, if you chose the male main character, you can get some extra crit rate here while her elemental burst is down here to help out your Hu Tao, do a little bit of bonus damage. I mean, sometimes you just got to take what you can get. So it's not the best, but it's still an option there. And I do like the ×2 Geo resonance bonus. It's going to allow your Geo characters to just dash out that little bit of extra damage. So even if you're doing like Noelle for the AoE damage, the shields, the big heals as well, especially if you're like Constellation 1 and you choose the Traveler, they're going to be able to support her pretty darn well here. You block some projectiles with the main character. You put those big shields up with Noelle. You have some heals with Noelle because you're allowed to take more hits now because you have the ability to get healed up. The first team that we're using, only healer here is Xingqiu. Now, Xingqiu is the last one. I just put a video out on him yesterday, so you know exactly how to build him. If you want to see all of that, go ahead and check that one out as well. But he's here primarily to amplify Hu Tao's damage with his elemental burst. That's pretty much all he's here for. You can build him up for damage later on if you really want to fully invest into him. You do not have to, though, for this team composition. I have him at level 60 here, and just build him up for energy recharge. If you want to know more about that, I'll have a link to that video that was put out just the other day for you guys in the comment section in the description of this video. So I love this. I love this build. I feel like I'm playing an overpowered Geo character. Big hits, and it's gonna go higher. I mean, if I max out her normal attack talent and I get, you know, a little bit better artifacts, we're gonna be easily hitting for over 100k, maybe 110, 120k here with the vaporizes with this team setup, and she's gonna be unable to be beaten down. So I'm looking forward to that. If you guys want to see more stuff for Genshin Impact, make sure that you do go ahead, subscribe, like the video if you did find it informative, if you found it fun. Let me know down below how you've been using your Hu Tao, or if you plan on trying to get her before her banner goes away, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys.